Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. This is the part 4 of study skills, in which today we are going to look at what is précis writing. Before we proceed to what précis means, let me put an example in front of you. If you are asked to make 1 glass of juice from oranges, how many oranges do you need? Minimum 3, isn't it? And during the process of making the juice, do we require these 3 things that I have shown you? Do we require the skin of the orange? Do we require the pulp? Do we require the seeds? We don't. And whatever we are going to get as a filter after that, it will be 1 glass of juice. So this 1 glass of juice is the result of these 3 oranges. You have to see that this is the juice of oranges, not of mango or not of any other fruit, not of lemons, not of apples, not of any other thing. This is the filtered form of 3 oranges. And in this process, we did not need these 3 things. Now what you got is, in simple words, the précis of the oranges. So I'll get back to this example. Let's look at the first pronunciation and then the meaning of précis. This word or this term, it can be used as a noun or as a verb. And this is the pronunciation written in red. And here you will see that how it can be pronounced in 2 different, they are the same way, you can pronounce it the same way, only the stress is different. Here the stress is going to be on the initial syllable, and here the stress has to be on the last syllable, that is précis. And of course these 2 dots, I always tell you that they are for long vowel sound. So it is précis and précis, okay? So one is American and one is British. And there is a third pronunciation, rather the original pronunciation of the term, because this term is not English. This has come from French into English, and how it is written, you can see that it has something on E, on letter E. You can see over here, this is something which I will explain, but it means condensed or something precise. Now this something on E, it is called in French aigu, and in English we call it the acute accent. There are 5 kinds of accents in French language, and one of them is, which you can see over here, that is on the letter E, and this is pronounced as A, like précis, pré. So précis, resume, on even if you look at those 2 E's on that term, resume, you will find out that it has acute accent on that, or accent aigu on that, and again that is the French term. So wherever you find this accent on E, you should instantly recognize that word as some word from French language. And how it is pronounced in French.
Précis, 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 précis.
Okay, so you don't need to pronounce it this way, because people are going to make fun of you, because when I pronounce it in the French way, because my French is comparatively better because I have done my French course also. So over here you will see that people are going to make fun of you, but you should know what is the actual pronunciation if you want to, because this is what we people should do. We should look for different languages, their pronunciation. This is something really good. Well, let's get to the meaning of it again, that it is actually a short version of a speech or a piece of writing that gives the main points or ideas. Now, this definition is almost the same what I had told you in summary, isn't it? But something is going to be different. There's a technical difference between the two. And this is where you can use it as a verb. You can say that to précis a scientific report. So it can be used as a noun and it can be used as a verb. So when I told you that it is a kind of, it has similarities with summary, so it is actually a special or specialized form of summarizing. This is basically summary of something, but a special form of summary. And how it is different? There are two things which will make it different from summary writing, which I will discuss. Since this is a special form of summarizing, so it means it is quite an art, and it is art of compression or an art of squeezing. You see the way the lemons or the oranges or they are pressed or squeezed or compressed in order to get the juice out of it. In the same way, when you compress or when you squeeze the original passage is like those three oranges, you see, and what you get as a result of it is going to be that juice, which is précis of the oranges is the that juice, you see. So it is a subtle way, an artistic way of writing the long passages into crisp means to the point, and cohesive short paragraph. Cohesive means linked together, connected. Okay. Now this point, central idea, theme, gist, crux, essence, this is what makes it different from summary. That in summary, you're only concerned with the main points with an S. Means there can be many main points in one paragraph. But in précis writing, when you are writing the précis, central idea is only one. So you have to expand or reduce the central idea to a certain length. So this is what the précis is all about. It's a central idea, it's a theme, summary, which we discussed in part number 3 of this series. That is not gist, that is not crux, that is not essence. Those are just the main points of something. See, but over here you have to focus yourself on the main idea, what the theme of that passage or that article or that writing material is. So there are certain synonyms that are used in different contexts, and that can be abstracts or executive summary or synopsis. These are different terms that are used in place of précis. Précis is basically the academic term. It is used in our school, college life, university life, but after, even not in university, I have seen that mostly the term abstract and synopsis, they are used. Of course, it's a craft. It's something which is technical, and it is required in all professions and business communication. So it is required by those people who deal in such kind of things, in these professions they are. And this is how the red color, again, this is going to tell you the definition, the briefest possible definition of précis, that it is a condensed restatement, rewriting, retelling of the original reading material. So the last point is the second different thing from summary. First different thing was that it is about the central idea, theme, gist, crux or essence of the original passage. And here it is 1/3 of the length. You have to be a bit mathematical. You have to calculate your words. So final draft must have 1/3 of the length. 1/3 means, as you understand, that if there are 90 words in the original passage, then you have to reduce it to 30 in the shortened passage. And this term is from this miniature. This term is from painting. And we see that it is a miniature portrait of the passage. Just like if you remember when we were doing paragraph, I told you that paragraph is actually a miniature portrait of essay. So same thing over here, because the structure is the same in paragraph, which is in essay. There are certain qualities of a good précis, as they are already written over here. I'm not going to explain because they are almost same in all such kind of things, like whether it's a summary or it's any form of communication that you do, or any form of even writing that you do. It should communicate, it should have, and within communication these things are required. But something that I'm going to focus on is point number 2. It is objectivity. Objectivity is the hallmark of précis writing. You have to be unbiased. You have to include only the opinion of the writer. Your own opinion does not matter over here. It is not required at all. You are strictly going to follow whatever the writer thinks. It is the thought of the writer. You are only the one who is going to shorten it to the central idea. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. You see? And rest of the things are the same. But point number 6, conciseness. It is here I'm going to link it with to the point. What Precis asks you to be to the point. It is this particular feature: conciseness, brevity, being condensed. So here are the don'ts of précis writing, which are almost what I have mentioned side by side with the previous slide, in the previous slide. And here we see this point number 1, that don't copy sentences from the original. It goes same for summary writing as well. You are not going to copy and paste the sentences, the words of the writer. Words are your own, whereas thought is of the writer. No additional information required. You are not going to be subjective. Subjective means that it's not I or we that you have. You don't have to write I think, I believe, in my opinion. No, you are not supposed to write this. It is in the third person, just like in summary. You are not going to include wrong facts and figures, and don't complicate it. Be simple. This is the same thing in summary. Most of them are the same. You see it. I think everything is the same over here. Don'ts of précis writing. It has the same points. So précis is important in academic field, where we see that students, when they have to go for the research related assignments, they have to read many articles, and from there they have to take the crux of those writing that for their writing. And we see that when they have to write their research, they have to include that précis in the literature review part of it. So it means that it is extremely important for research related assignments, which can have your research papers or thesis. It also polishes the skill, the critical thinking of students, and also highlights the crucial information. And in business world, where when you go for jobs and when you have those fields after your education is complete, then you will find out that a lot of correspondence is to be read over there. So many articles, so many reports are over there. So we know that there is not much time when one is in job. One cannot read each and everything. So sometimes a person is requested to read the full passage and present the important matters as in the form of précis. So in business world, the term précis is not used. They call it either the executive summary, or they might call it a brief of something, or this is how. Term can be different, but meaning is the same. Précis is the term which is used only in academic context. See, so that's why students are they are trained in this this field, you can say, so that in the future when they are asked to require it in their practical life, in their professional lives, it should not be a problem for them. And even in CSS, you see, this précis is something so integral that from the high school, means from 9th, 10th, first year, second year onwards, till you will find it in your universities also. And when you go for these competitive exams, especially CSS, which is the dream of almost everyone after medical. So when you go for CSS, over there is a proper question, proper paper rather, on Precis. So there then students, they face a lot of problems if they have not paid attention to it earlier. So it means that Precis is such an important thing. Now here I have written the steps of Precis writing. You will see that the first time you will read the passage for the sake of getting the main theme. It's very similar to skimming. First you are going to skim, then you are going to scan. Second reading is for focusing your attention over there. So the difference between summary and Precis in step number 1 is that in summary you are going to get the main points. Here the theme is always one. This is the difference. So whenever you are doing something to focus or to take the better understanding of that, you always either underline or highlight. You always have something in your hands, like a pen, like a highlighter, like a pencil, which helps you to note down the things. In your academic writing, you require a title for your shortened passage, which is not required in summary. See, in summary, we do not require title, but in Precis writing, we require a title to be given for that passage that you are going to shorten. See, and then the next step is going to be that you are going to now start writing. This is the writing process. Your reading is going to finish at point number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, they all are related with the reading part of your Precis. Now the writing part starts. Here you are going to use your own language, but you have to keep the keywords of the original paragraph same. For example, in my previous video, I used the passage in which there was the term platypus, mammal, some such kind of terms. Now these are the keywords. I cannot change mammal into something else. It has to be mammal, platypus has to be platypus. So you have to retain the keywords of the paragraph in your shortened passage. Yes, proofreading is important. You have to check if any important point is left. Now here comes the process of limiting it. Now your first draft is ready. Here you are going to make a very conscious effort to count the number of words and then make it 1/3. Make it 1/3. Here you don't have to waste your time in counting words. Instead, you have to count lines, which I will mention in the coming slide. Yes, correctness. How in proofreading you have to do this for everything. This is the same in summary as well. And finally, you have to reconsider. Sometimes you go through it and you consider, you again make changes in the title and try to see whether it is very much related with the passage or not. So some changes you make in the title. Now, before I get into an example of Precis writing, let me take you to the word count. Now this is just an example. Don't worry about the font, the look of the font, because we are not interested in reading it at all. I just wanted to give you an idea of the length of the passage and how to count the number of words and the number of lines. Now, for example, if such a passage is in front of you, for the first thing you have to do is to get the idea of how much you have to reduce it. You have to first count the words in the first line. So if you count the words in the first line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so you will find there 19. Okay, so the total number of words in one line, if they are 19, you have to now count the number of lines, and here the number of lines are 11. So what it means that we have to now multiply the number of words in one line, in the first line, by the total number of lines, and the whole passage will have now in this case 209 words. Now this is your original passage. Now you have to shorten it. For shortening it, you have to divide the original passage into, divide it by 3. So here, if you divide 209 by 3, you are going to get 70. 70 means that now your new passage is going to have between 65 to 75. This is the range of words. All right. So this is the idea you get. So this is quite a mathematical thing, which summary does not have. We are talking about the general term summary. This is the special term. Précis is a special form of summarizing. Look at this aspect of giving title to your précis. First, I will look at that. Now, this title is précis of the précis. Now, what it means, précis of the précis? It means that it has to be further shortened. So, we see that title is usually between 5 to 7 words. Try to keep it between 5 to 7 words, not longer than that. Then it loses its appeal. All right. So the title should convey the central idea of the original passage. See, again, précis of the original passage. In order to reach to the title, you have to give passage a very careful read between 2 to 3 times, because once if you read it, you don't get a specific or particular idea. The last point is that it should be in upper and lower case. This is what I tell my students, that they have to follow, ideally speaking, this format of writing, that is upper and lower case. This is the term of typing. This is how we call it in typing. What it means that it should be in capital and small letters. And I give you 3 examples, and there you are going to see that how you should not write it. Now, benefits of morning walk. For example, if the title is this, you have given this title. So you will find out that M small, W small. That's why it is incorrect, because of these 2 small letters. They should not have been small. Please pardon my spelling typing issue. I just realized that there is N missing from here. So it is already wrong. So benefits of morning walk, it's all in caps or uppercase. So we usually don't encourage, because we don't want you to write every letter in capital. So again, for that reason, I don't consider it right. Look at this, why it is wrong. Benefits of morning walk, capital W, capital M, but why this O is capital? So whenever prepositions and articles come in the middle, they don't come in the beginning, then the initial letter will be small. And this is how you should write. Benefits of morning walk, B capital, O small, of morning, M capital, and W is capital. So here usually I tell my students to write the title in the center of the line. They should not write it to the left side, because then in the center it is visible. And then your paragraph starts from the next line, left of that line. So I usually tell my students to keep their title in the middle or the center of the line, right? So this is the one which is, ideally speaking, I encourage this one, right? Now, in our daily life, some of the examples of précis. What are these? This was in summary also. I gave this title. This image. So here I have given it again. Now you see all these headlines, this, all these headlines, they are actually the précis, the central idea of the news, because news is quite long. And you see the people in daily life, whenever they have in front of them, they don't have time, and in front of them there is newspaper, they quickly glance at the headlines, and then they get the idea that whatever is happening today in the world, they get the idea. So that's one of the examples of précis, the headlines. In your academic writing, academic term, your academic context, abstracts abstracts of any research paper. Abstracts means, again, précis, I told you, the shortened version of what your thesis or paper about. So this is basically a page that you add in the beginning of your research paper or thesis, which somehow it has, ideally speaking, in APA format, it should not be more than 200 words. You see, usually thesis is it is 10,000 words plus. And how many words you write in your abstract? Not more than 200. See? So it means that this is the shortened version in which you write everything your thesis is all about. So these are basically some of, I wanted to tell you the examples from daily life. See? Okay. Now I get to the solved example of précis. Précis is not necessarily of passage. We can make a précis of a sentence also. So I started with the easy thing. If in front of you there is this line, this sentence, that he roared like a lion on the battlefield and killed many of the enemy soldiers with the skill of his sword. It has, initially when I read it, I will count its words. Since there are not many words over here, I can easily count. These are 22 words. Here you don't need to count a number of lines and this and that. That is for longer passages. So 22 words. Ideally speaking, if we multiply it, divided by 3, it will have somewhere 7 words it should have. So it means that my central idea has to revolve around 7 words. It can be 8, but ideally speaking between 6 to 7, right? So he roared like a lion. Now these are those 3 oranges. I have to make a juice. What should I do? I have to leave, or I have to throw away the skin. I have to throw away the seeds. I have to throw away that pulp within this, like I have to squeeze that pulp also, so that it should not have the juice, it should not have that, the juice has taken out, and then whatever is left, I have to leave it also. So what should I do? What should I filter? What I am going to do is, when you say he roared like a lion on the battlefield, roared like a lion, we don't need this roared like a lion. We should replace it with one word only, one word, which should give the sense of roared like a lion. I mean, his rage, his bravery, we have to talk about that. On the battlefield, it tells us that he's a soldier, okay? And also tells us his bravery, that he killed many of the enemy soldiers with the skill of his sword. We don't need the weapon. We understand that soldiers have their weapons. It is also unnecessary to mention the weapon, right? Because with soldiers, we have this in our mind, that they have this kind of weapon or that kind of weapon. So let us now look at the central idea. The central idea is about the bravery of this soldier. That's it. This is the central idea. And soldier shows his bravery in the battle, not outside the battle. See? So how can I reduce it? Now look at my effort of reducing it, and then you can have your own opinion. Look at this. He fought valiantly. Valiantly is the word which is exclusively associated with bravery in the battlefield. So I don't need to mention that he fought valiantly in the battlefield or on the battlefield. No. Valiantly in itself means that it is in some battle he has shown this bravery. When you say bravery, bravery is like a general term. But when you say valiantly, this is related with soldiers, the heroism that they have. And then I also want to tell that he killed many people. These are the thoughts which are mentioned over here. So he fought valiantly no need of weapon, because we know that soldiers have their weapon. They don't fight with their arms only. Okay. And slew is another word. This is the synonym of killed. So I didn't want to repeat it. That's why I used the word slew. Slew is from, like, it's a second form of the verb slay, slay. And slew many. I don't need to mention who are those many. They are, like in the original line, it is mentioned many of the enemy soldiers. Of course, when he is a soldier and he will kill many, it means that many means soldiers, and it also means that they are enemy soldiers. How can he kill his own people? So it means it is understood. So it is 6 words. See, I have reduced it to the 1/3 of the original lines. Now this is the easy example I have taken just to make the concept for you. Now this red line is the juice, and these 2 lines were the 3 oranges. Now I have thrown away the seeds, the skin. And you know that where are those seeds and skin? They are not required. We require the juice only, the crux, the central idea. Another quick example. If such a paragraph, now this is from, this is again a sentence, but it's a long sentence and makes up a paragraph. You look at this, if such a news is there that putting an end to the 60 years old practice of barring women from becoming makeup artists in the film industry, the Supreme Court on November 11, 2014 allowed qualified women to be appointed for this job. So initially I looked at the number of words, approximately they are 34 words. So I won't get into the detail of it. I just quickly, I'm going to tell you how I reduced it. So the dates have to be there. You can't change the dates. They are the facts and figures. So how you make it precise? On 11th November 2014, Supreme Court allowed women to work as makeup artists in the film industry. So you don't need to say old practice of barring women or something like that. You don't have to repeat the idea of this which is repeated in the original passage. So you have to be crisp, and you will write that on 11th November 2014, Supreme Court allowed women to work as makeup artists in the film industry. So very much to the point, nothing left and right, and approximately 15 words, a little above 1/3, but this is how minimum I could have done. And the last example, comparatively a longer paragraph, and you see, if I quickly read it, you will find out what the idea. So overall it has 124 words. So a poor woman once came to a holy man to ask him whether he could give any medicine to restore a dead child to life. The holy man told her that there was only one medicine to bring her son back to life. He bade her to bring him a handful of mustard seeds from a house where death had never entered. The grieving mother went from door to door seeking the mustard seeds, but at every door she met with sad replies. One said, "I lost my husband," and told him the result of her quest. Then the holy man explained to her tenderly that she was not alone in this world to suffer such grief, sorrow, and death are common to all. Okay, let me now make a juice out of it. And I have to throw something away. What should I throw? Let's have a look at it. First, I should keep the keywords with me. For example, I should know that it's a poor woman, because there is no, I have to keep this character in mind. I have to keep the character of a holy man in my mind. These are 2 important people here. Okay. I also have to keep in mind why that lady came. It is for medicine. Then I should also, rest of the thing I don't need. Then I should keep in mind what he told her. A handful of mustard seeds. These are facts and figures. We can't ignore them. These are the key words from the passage. And look at the central idea somewhere which is coming up over here, which is the main point which can help us, that He bade her to bring him a handful of mustard seeds from a house where death had never entered. Now, this is a startling point. I should keep it in mind. Now, what this lady does, that she goes from door to door seeking the mustard seeds, but at every door she met with sad replies. One said, I lost my husband. Now, this is completely, you don't need it. You don't need the inverted commas or quotations, or you just need the crux of it. Then she comes back to that man, and that man tells her that she was not alone in this world to suffer such grief, because sorrow and death are common to all. So let's see how I have reduced it. See this? Now, is it everything I have completed or not? You can be a better judge. A poor woman came to a religious man. I deliberately did not want to use holy man because I wanted to give a synonym. A poor woman came to a religious man for the cure of death. So instead, there were so many words for that. I used it just for 3-4, the cure of death. He asked her to bring a small amount of mustard seeds. I had to keep this mustard seeds because they were what he told, from the place where death never visited. She could not find any. Now, this is the crux of all what she went over there and then asked and this and that. I just reduced it to the central point. I said that she could not find any and learned that death is universal. I deliberately did not say death was universal because this is the universal truth, so that's why present tense. So I have reduced it to 41 words, exactly what I wanted. It is the 1/3 of the entire passage. Now this is what I had to do. Now this is the juice of the 3 oranges. So conclusion, this is the difference. You can read. Summary, it's a brief statement that covers the main points of a text and also discusses the main events in general. Whereas précis, now technically it has to be 1/3 of the total words, and it analyzes, and one point you should add more, that it is the central idea of the original passage. Now this is what I tried my level best to make this quite it's not that easy to explain précis with the help of examples, but I tried my best. So I will see you inshallah for the last part of it. But before that, I want to leave you with this apparently humorous quotation by Mark Twain. Mark Twain was a very famous American humorist and a writer. He belonged to the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century. And what he said, it is something about précis, though he did not directly said it. I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one instead. Did you understand what he meant? It means that writing a short letter is more difficult. It requires more time. It requires more focus. So he could not. So that's why he wrote a long one, which is comparatively easier to write. So this is, in a way, he wanted to talk about the importance of learning the art of précis writing. So I just put it for your understanding, the importance of it. Well, thank you for watching and listening. And now I'm going to look at the last part, which is going to be just coming soon. So see you by that time. Take care. Stay blessed.